You know, it's people like these who really make me hate the religious. It's people like this who, when they spew words out of their mouth, all I can think about is wanting to beat their face in with a hammer and break every bone in their body. It's people like this who deserve the exact pain and medical problems that others would face that they're speaking for. The video you're about to watch is of a man proposing that women, when they have a miscarriage or they abort a child, is to remain dead in their body. And he's trying to get this passed to make it illegal to have a dead fetus removed out of the woman's body, just like a cow or a pig. Don't believe me? Take a look.
We've been here quite a while now, and I too will be very short and brief in my comments. You know, life gives us many experiences.
You know, life does bring a lot of experiences. But in no way are you qualified to speak on behalf of women's health. Especially when all you've been doing is sitting in a farm raising pigs and cows. Who are you to comment and even recommend what a woman should do with her body?
It gives us the experience, or I've had the experience of delivering calves, dead and alive. Delivering pigs, dead and alive. And I want to tell you, Representative McCall, Representative Roberts, all of us, Representative Anderson, that have done that, Representative Black, that have done that, it breaks our hearts to see those animals not make it. You know, a few years ago, I had a young man come to me at our store, and it was when we were debating, talking about dog and hog hunting, I believe, and at that point there was some language inserted in there that dealt with chicken fighting. And a young man called me to the side and he said, "I want to tell you one thing. And y'all, this is salt of the earth people I'm talking about. Someone I would have never in 100 years expected to tell me what he told me that day. He said, Mr. Terry, I want to tell you something. You tell those folks down there when they quit killing babies, they can have every chicken I've got." Now, if that don't put it in perspective for you.
Oh no! You've put it in plain perspective. Obvious perspective. You disgusting redneck sack of bigoted crap. That's what you are. You hate women. I get it. You put that plainly into perspective.
Real quick. Your bread ain't going to rise and your eggs ain't going to cook. It made something real to me that day. I've been pro-life my entire life. I've never dreamed in my life of my wife having an abortion, should we have been lucky enough to have children, or anybody that I know. But that one statement kind of framed everything for me real quick that day. And I want to leave you with one quote. And it's from the owner's manual of life. Many sometimes say we don't get owner's manuals, but I'm going to tell you there is one. It's called the Holy Bible. It was spoken by God through men and through Jesus Christ itself. But in Jeremiah 1:5, he tells us, he doesn't stutter, he doesn't stammer. He tells us this one thing. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. He knew us before we were conceived. He knew us when we were conceived. He knows us now. And it's not our job to play God and abort children.
Oh really? I can't play God? But you can by telling women that they should have a dead child remain in their body? Trying to make it illegal for a woman to have a choice on her own body, but then forcing her not to be able to take a dead child out of her body? That kinda sounds like a contradiction. You can't have an abortion, but if the child dies in the womb, it has to stay there, because after all, women are just like cows and piggies, right? Right. No. Absolutely not. This doesn't even make sense, banning abortion after 20 weeks and then forcing the women to carry that child, even if the woman learns that her child is not going to be viable or going to be born with abnormalities with no skull or something or missing an entire part of their body, or even if the child dies, that child, fetus, is to remain dead in her body. You know what I'd love to do to this guy? Cut open his stomach, grab a dead pig, throw it into his stomach, sew it all the way back up, and then for 20 weeks, live and walk around with a dead animal in his stomach. That's gotta feel great and healthy, right? Do you guys see my point? I hope you do. This man is nothing more than a racist, misogynistic, bloated, white douchebag trying to control what women can and cannot do with their bodies. But it's more than just that. It's forcing a woman to carry a dead child in the womb. And the worst part? He's religious. He's a Bible-thumping believer Christian. That reminds me, doesn't our Constitution say something about that? Looking at my computer right now, it says, Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion or prohibiting the free exercises thereof. The First Amendment. That's right, Terry England. The First Amendment. Do you know what that is? Do you have a brain? I want you to think about something very, very carefully. Not only is this a violation of a woman's rights, but is it not a violation of your rights? This is a violation of a woman's rights. But it's also a violation of your rights. Now, what do I mean by that? Because rights, a person's rights, are universal. If we can take the right of a woman to choose to have an abortion, or to force a woman to have a dead child remain in her body, then why can't they take the rights away from us? Whether it be something similar on the same issue, or whether it be a completely different issue. Human rights are universal. You take away one gender's rights, you take away everybody's rights. That's how it works. This man, Terry England, is probably the most ignorant piece of sack of crap that I've ever seen. Because if you actually keep a child, a dead child in the womb, the health risk goes up extremely high. Infections rise. Pelvic inflammatory disease. Keeping a dead child in the womb is not healthy. And I go back to my original statement. What makes this farmer redneck qualified to speak on women's health? He isn't. Terry England is a disgusting, vile, misogynistic man who speaks on the behalf of women to take away their choice, to force them into health risks. I go back to my earlier statement. Let's cut open his stomach, stuff a dead pig in there, and have him walk around for 20 weeks. Maybe it will make some bacon.